Hello everybody, welcome back to Mountain Twink Lad Mountaineers. I am the host for this episode, Dylan, and joined with me are, of course, Andrew, Drew, and Nick. How are you boys today? And Nick's also here? He hasn't said anything, I forgot about him. Yeah, the other Nick's also here. How are you boys today? In this fine September 11th, 20 years since it happened.
For the 20th year anniversary of 9/11, we're gonna make this podcast.
Everybody fucking celebrate.
Yeah, how are you all celebrating this fine day?
I can see you're stopping terrorism right here.
I am. That's the plan. And I failed.
Oh, you just let Mr. Grumpf die.
Oh no. What a shame.
Bro, I voted for him.
Well, I'm really bad at this game. Wow.
While we're here, I have a question for you. So you know, like your personality trait. You want to how stubborn you are. Is there like a word for the opposite of stubborn?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean like agreeable, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I think we need a word for that. Because I noticed my sticking to my opinions that I'm very strongly proud of and all that. I don't do. We're talking about
we've established that you change your opinions on the fly, like whatever someone's talking about.
Not only change my opinion, but opinions that I feel very strongly for, such as my opinion that Good Game is shit. Completely unwarranted. Good Game is one of the best shows I've ever seen. Don't know what Good Game is. Good Game is by the Game Grumps, who are good. I can't comment.
Okay, wait, hold on.
I can't.
I understand enjoying the show, obviously, but how, like, what do you mean it's one, like, what makes it one of the best shows you've ever seen?
Here's something that people need to do more. People need to do this more. When we're talking about stuff that we think is good, for instance, let's say you go to a restaurant, you get a really fancy, like, I don't know how much is fancy. Let's say $70 steak. That's really good. Now, let's say you go to Taco Bell and you get a taco that's for like 3 tacos for $1, and you think those taste really good. You could say they're both really good. They're really good in different aspects. It's completely unfair to compare the two.
Yeah, like, let's compare the $5 Big Box from Taco Bell to the $38 steak Nick and Nick got from
Yes, if you want to then compare like a $5 Big Mac, I don't know how much Big Mac costs, a $5 Big Mac to a $1 taco from Taco Bell, then that's a fair comparison. You can say that. It's unfair to compare these things, so I think saying I can say I think Good Game is an amazing show.
I know what you're saying, but what I think you mean to say is I know what you're saying, and I'm the same way, except I don't say those things are good. I say they suck, they're shit, but I enjoy them.
Like Donnie Darko.
That's a different discussion for a different day.
Okay.
But you know what I mean.
Okay. Here's the thing, though.
Like, I enjoy terrible things all the time, like anybody, but I recognize that they are bad.
I think, though, for something to be bad and then you enjoy it, it actually has to be bad. Because what Good Game, it wasn't trying to be this, like, big piece, this big commentary on society and stuff. It was meant to say, hey, this is esports, these are some fucked up parts about it, and then here's a comedy about it too. And I think it did that really well. So, in that case, it's a good show.
But that's something that people don't do enough, which is they recognize something that just fucking sucks. And they say, hey, we can all agree, this fucking sucks. Why don't you just stop laughing about how much this sucks?
Yeah,
and there's some good stuff in there. Let's not...
I bring to you why 9/11 jokes are funny.
They're very funny.
Move that topic aside.
Yeah, let's ignore that.
let's ignore what Nick says sometimes. That's
most of the time.
Rule number 1.
Almost all.
Out of pocket.
I know you like being the out of pocket guy, but sometimes your out of pocketness is in itself
a little too out of pocket.
Yeah. When the out of pocket is out of pocket, that's a little too in pocket, maybe. I don't know.
The reverse pocket.
It sounds like you're trying too hard sometimes to be out of pocket.
Like,
again, let's put that
bringing up
aside.
9/11.
Yes, I have an amazing example. Okay.
Oh, I love this game.
Let's compare.
What game?
I don't know.
The one you're playing now.
Say a game.
Oh, you can.
You
can see that. Yeah, I'm gonna switch
just
games.
A very high quality movie. It wasn't meant to be a joke. It was meant to be good, like serious, and it worked, and it was really good. Just give me an example of one.
of a really good movie that had no
really
problems
good movie
with it.
that you had. Not only that, it was trying to be a serious good movie. It wasn't like a good game of. It was funny and it was good at being funny, so it was really good. Something that was actually trying to be a very like high quality good film.
I'll go for one that you know well, The Truman Show.
Truman Show? Love The Truman Show. That's actually a great movie. I gotta watch that again. Great movie. Okay, Truman Show. Where was I going with this? Truman Show. Okay. Truman Show is trying to be really good, and it is really good. I kind of forgot where I was going with this now, but I remember it had something to do with Nagatoro.
Jesus fucking Christ, Drew, please.
Yeah.
Drew, you want me to finish this conclusion for you?
No. Nagatoro, because trust me, I'm going to say something good, but I'm going to mostly say bad stuff about this series. Nagatoro, I love. It is one of the... Well, I definitely do give out more 10s than anyone else here. It is still one of my 10s. It is the only show that I genuinely believe that I gave a 10 that probably doesn't deserve a 10. There are others that might not deserve a 10, but Nagatoro, I think, doesn't deserve
what else
a
did
10.
You give it then?
Let's see. Should I just give you the ones that I know you won't agree with?
Yeah, sure.
Assassination Classroom, only season 2 though. Season 1 I gave 8.
I thought season 2 was worse.
I think I gave it an 8 just because
the ending
I don't know why I
was
gave it
pretty
an 8.
good.
It's very disappointing because Koro Sensei was way more interesting in season 2, but fuck, the plot got so much dumber.
I love the plot. Okay, whatever. We're not discussing Assassination Classroom here. What else did I give 10s? Well, I gave Nagatoro a 10. That surprises nobody. I also bought the entire manga that's out right now. I'm gonna buy Volume 8 as soon as it comes, like the day it comes out. I don't think there's anything else I gave a 10 that I don't actually think deserves it. Let me just go down my list. I got Toradora, Steins Gate, Anohana, the third Berserk movie, Silent Voice, Assassination Classroom Season 2, Mob Psycho 100, both of them, Vinland Saga, Season 3 Part 2 of Attack on Titan, Great Pretender, Wonder Egg Party, Nagatoro, Bunny Girl, Steins Gate, Divide by Zero, the end of Steins Gate original series, which kind of feels weird they split it up.
Divide by Zero is one that leads into Zero.
Yeah. It makes sense that they split it.
That's the alternate episode.
It was the alternate.
The OVA alternate.
Yeah, 23
that brought it into being a different show. Steins Gate, we gotta talk about that someday too, but that's way too long of a discussion to bring into this. So yeah,
I'll take up a whole
episode. It's universally loved among our group. It's just Zero we would have debates about.
Oh yeah. Which would be difficult
because
I just remember not liking it.
Yeah.
I remember not liking it as much.
Wait, we can go over that really briefly here. I mean, because like the reason I like it isn't necessarily because I think it's like this amazing masterpiece of a show. It's just like I have a weird, like it satisfies a weird part of my brain where it makes the show feel like much more cyclical. Like everything interlocks really well, and I really like that about it.
Disagree a little bit.
I'm gonna tell you this. I completely disagree.
You don't think
because I remember this much. I remember this. That show took the masterpiece that the first one was. I call it a masterpiece, but I only gave it a 9. I think perhaps I'm gonna change it to a 10. But that show was like good as fuck, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know a single person that would disagree.
I don't think
Eric
Zero
actually,
just like took that, stretched it out, like retconned something that did not have to be changed.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. It didn't have to be changed.
I don't want to spoil it or anything, because I guess it's worth watching. But like, what the fuck? It was just stupid. Okay. It kind of ruined a couple. I mean, ruined, but it was an OVA, so it's technically.
Okay,
it doesn't really matter.
If you watch original Steins Gate from like just base Steins Gate from start to finish, you will thoroughly enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with that. You can be satisfied with just that. When I watched Zero, I watched original Steins Gate fully, and then I watched the OVA and Zero. When we group watched the show, we watched the OVA and then Zero, and then finished original Steins Gate, which I think might have been part of the problem too.
It's probably
it did kind of make it feel like the original Steins Gate got a little bit too stretched out, and not enjoying Zero definitely made that even worse because
I guarantee that's the reason
you have to watch stuff you didn't like before you can finish the stuff you really did like.
But I mean, the thing is, though, for Zero, it like the events that happened in it, they like I don't want to spoil too much about it, but basically they wouldn't be canon in the regular Steins Gate universe just because of the way the time travel system works. I found that really cool. But at the same time, like if you watch both stories, it is canon. That's how original Syndicate happens, is through the events of Zero. But if you don't watch it, that's fine. Like it still makes sense. I think that's like really genius.
I think my take on it is that I watched original Syndicate because it took me a bit. I think you watched Zero completely before I did. I think I may have started right before you did, but
yeah, maybe
finished it before I did. I was the one that before all of us that watched Syndicate, and I loved it, and I kept while I was watching it because I was watching it while we were in college. I kept saying, "Wow, this show's amazing." So then Andrew watched it, and then we decided to group watch it.
I think you weren't even fully done with original Syndicate when I started watching it, or if you were, you had just finished it.
It was the day I finished.
I remember grinding out all of Syndicate in a weekend, and then all of Zero the following weekend.
But so I watched all of Syndicate. I thought this was really good. This is amazing. It was, I think, the quickest 10 I ever gave after watching the show. All the other ones I kind of thought about a bit before I watched it and debated 8 or 9, 10, 9, what should I give it? Syndicate, I didn't even have to think about. I knew it was going to be a 10 as soon as I finished it. And again, without spoiling what Zero is, how Zero worked, it did kind of almost say, okay, this is what happened in Syndicate. Let's change that a little bit and say, this is how now it works with Zero. And it almost kind of felt like an update to Steins Gate that
no one asked for.
Wasn't entirely necessary. Well, here's another thing. Before I watched Zero, and the reason that it took me a bit longer to watch Zero is because there was something I heard of that I kind of do agree with now, a bit later after I watched it, now that I've let this show sit for longer, and the reason why I actually dropped Zero from a 10 to a 9, might even drop it further if I watch it again, I'm not sure. But it was that Zero I felt extremely satisfied with the ending of Steins Gate. Because I completely finished Steins Gate, all the episodes, before watching Zero. I was extremely, extremely satisfied at the ending of Steins Gate. I was a little bit less so satisfied at the ending of Zero. But with the inclusion of Zero, it didn't feel like it was Steins Gate could have gone with Steins Gate, or it could have gone with Steins Gate into Steins Gate Zero. Once you watch Zero, you then feel like, okay, the whole story goes through this. And it almost made me not so much enjoy the original less, but I wasn't as happy with how Zero kind of ended the story. It kind of, like, the little things, I don't want to say open, but like, I didn't feel like there were any loose threads at the end of the Steins Gate. I felt like there was a little bit more that could have possibly, didn't need to be, but could have definitely been explained in Zero, that I didn't want to have to, like, think it should be explained. But then after watching Zero, I was like, well, now I kind of want to know what's going on here. There's some stuff that I already thought was good, and Zero just kind of lessened the whole experience for me. It added too much, and it added too much stuff without adding a lot of good stuff. It did add good stuff, but not enough for how much it added as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, to start this conversation,
I can't have an opinion because I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, you haven't. Yeah, like
that's a shame.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the dub is great.
The original one.
No,
honestly,
I think I was doing something else while I was watching it.
Like, as far as
the reason you said,
really
you didn't watch the original plus because you said you didn't like the dub. Like,
oh yeah, no, that was the reason. Yeah.
But like I said at the start, I recognize Zero is completely unnecessary. It just satisfies something within me personally that I don't get out of many other shows. Because I've always been a fan of the time travel stories. You know, like Back to the Future was one of my favorite movies growing up and stuff. And I think they did time travel pretty well. But then stuff like I have my own opinions on that. I did not care for the way they did. I mean, they did time travel in their own way with suspension and disbelief, with the quantum realm working the way they said it did. I just find it stupid the way they said it worked. But I think Steins Gate's time travel was really well explained, and I think Zero really added to that completion. Like I said, that's my that satisfies me personally. But I understand why other people wouldn't like it.
Yeah, there's not much for me to weigh in on. Definitely disagree with
we started talking about Steins Gate. So my 10s, I definitely give out more 10s than everyone else here, but I feel like for almost all of them, they aren't undeserved. I feel like Assassination Classroom and Nagatoro are the only ones I'm a little biased on, where I gave them 10s. Whether or not, I don't know if they deserved them. I just love the show so much, I gave it a 10 anyway. I recognize Nagatoro, or Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro, I think it's the Welsh title.
What's the Japanese title?
I think it's like, I always get the first.
Japanese words in
Day or something. Ira Jinai Day Nagatoro.
Ishira Naide Nagatoro-san.
That. I always get that first word
Thank
wrong.
you.
Thank you, Dylan.
Yeah, no problem. I think I got 100 on my first Japanese quiz, so yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Hey.
I mean, it was just recognizing hiragana, which I already learned like 2 years ago, though. So it's not something to be that proud about.
I mean,
Yeah, I didn't know you were taking Japanese. That's pretty.
Yeah, it counts as
Weeby,
2
like,
classes. So I'm just
Wait,
gonna
you're doing it for college?
Huh?
You're doing it for school?
Yeah, I get.
Cool.
I mean, like our college is different from other ones, so we don't do credits. But if it was a different college, it'd basically be an 8-credit course, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna ace it. 8, yeah, because it counts as
For a language?
it counts as
Italian class. That
It's
was
basically you can take 8 languages at like the easier ones. At least that's what I think that's what they are, which is why they're only 1 credit or 4
I hope
credits.
they teach Latin there.
Yeah, I think we do, and that
I've
so it's
pretty sure
that.
a lot of schools
I think
teach
it's
that.
that,
That word wrong?
Chinese,
Yeah.
Japanese, and like Arabic, which count as double credits, and then Spanish, Italian, German, French are just the 1.
Alright, well, so back to what can you say again, Dylan?
Ijiro Naide Nagatoro-san.
Nagatoro.
Yeah,
People know what
back
we're
to
talking
that. Yeah. So, I recognize if anyone asked me, is the show a 10? I would say no.
Yes.
This is not a
Oh.
10 out of 10 show. If I had to give you an actual grade for what this show is, not in my opinion, but in me thinking logically, the highest I could give it is a 7 if you're really into it.
Well, I mean,
But-
like, that's why it's called My Anime List and not
Yeah,
the Anime
yeah,
Score,
that's
right?
that's exactly where I was gonna go. This is my anime list. So same thing with, again, bringing this all the way back to Good Game. Good Game isn't supposed to be a 10 out of 10 show. It's, for me, it's a great show for the same reason Nagatoro's a great show. I really enjoyed it watching it, and I really enjoyed the show as a whole. I don't
Be
care.
fair, I think Good Game had a really low floor, but also a pretty low ceiling, and it kind of like hit that ceiling really well.
Yeah, it wasn't trying to be anything too much, so it really
Yeah.
didn't. It's almost like the same thing as like when the super underperformer in school just gets like
a
straight
70 on a
B's
test.
and they're like straight B's
And their
in
parents
class,
buy them
like,
ice
that's
cream
good
because
enough.
they failed every other test that year.
But like, did good for
Oh.
what it's- oh my
Dylan,
god.
hold on.
Oh.
We're gonna restate that shit because that's gonna edit it out.
My bad. I accidentally
good.
moved too far away, so my headset kind of unplugged, so I had to replug it in.
You know what? We don't need to edit that out.
Yeah. Hey,
Well, I'm good at editing,
we're
so I
we're
guess
starting out. We're allowed
less
to have
work for
big
me?
mistakes.
I don't know. Maybe we'll do this in because it's funny.
Easily avoidable mistakes.
Anyway, I haven't spoken that much, so I want to say the
Yeah,
reason
sorry.
you're talking about 10s and with my analysts and all that. Personally, the reason I don't give out that many 10s at all is because I personally have such like an emotional connection to the shows that I watch and the media that I consume. So
You
I
fucking
hold
love
I
Vine.
hold scoring like way more valuably.
Well,
If that's a word, then
I
no,
honestly
probably
don't know
do.
between the two of us, Dylan, who has less 10s. I actually
Check
added a
that
third
real quick.
recently.
Well, I mean, per capita, I'm sure Dylan might have less.
Yeah, I don't know how
Dylan
many
has like
shows he has.
1,000 shows watched or some shit.
No, I don't. I barely watch that much anime anymore. Just
Yeah,
straight up.
Dylan-
I just don't
Dylan
watch so
started
much.
as like the most weeb among in our group, and it's definitely no longer that.
You know what you
I
wanted to
almost
say.
said it. I almost said that.
I don't even know what you was gonna say.
I was gonna say Among Us.
Oh, but yeah, like I just hold such. I go to these shows like and any other piece of media really for like in part like inspiration and all that. So that's why I take everything that I watch like super seriously when I'm like scoring it, just because of what it means to me. So
I mean,
yeah.
for my 10s, it's kind of a similar thing. For certain parts, I've got like 3 kinds of 10s. The 10s where the 10 that Naruto was, where I don't care what I think it should be. I want to give it a 10, so I'm going to give it a 10. It's not that important, it's just an anime list, so if I feel like you're going to tell, I'll give it a 10. The kind of 10 where I legitimately thought that was a 10 out of 10 show, and the kind of 10 where I just felt like I don't care how good or bad, this is very similar to the other one, I don't care how good or bad the show is, if it actually made me feel something, and actually, like, Anohana I probably would have given a 10 either way, but that was like the only show that made me cry ever, or at least the past like decade. Probably when I was little, I cried and everything.
You got a low bar for crying, bro. Even fucking Naruto made me cry one time.
I've got
more than
once.
once.
A high bar for crying?
I
never
cry, but
I was such a crybaby as a kid that now I'm all cried out.
I've been seeing some Naruto memes recently that make me tear up.
I think the last time I cried was at the show we're gonna watch next.
What show is that?
That is Madoka Magica, I think.
No, we got Kill la Kill next.
What?
Kill la Kill, then Vinland Saga. Madoka Magica is not coming for a while, though.
Oh, what? Why not? I thought it was right on the list after a Good Game.
It was.
We skipped
we
ahead.
moved Good Game ahead very far.
Because it was.
Are we continuing with Boondocks? We'll let this part out.
It's a long show.
Shit.
I
said
Boondocks is a fantastic show. Everybody should watch it.
No,
that I can agree on.
Because every time sometimes I'm just sitting and like I want to watch more Boondocks, but like we're not watching right now, so I can't.
Yeah. I think it's a show we should all watch at our own paces. Yeah. Although, ironically, I don't have a way to watch it legally now, but it is what it is.
Watch it illegally. Oh no, sue me.
You guys heard about the Funimation VRV merger and all that thing?
That's a thing?
The merger officially went through.
I just recommended not using it, so please sponsor.
Recommending not using what?
Whatever you can watch Boondocks on.
HBO Max?
HBO Max. Yeah, you have to buy it with
shit,
live
that's where I've
TV
been watching
to get in.
Also, HBO Max, pretty lit. Got some good anime on it.
It is. It's got some really good stuff.
Yeah, HBO Max sponsor us.
Really quality selection.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. Jujutsu Kaisen is so good. And
actually, HBO Max is kind of insane.
Once season 2 comes out, there's a chance I give it a 10. You know what? I do hold my 10s in very high regard.
You do. No, you do.
There's very few shows I'd consider 10, even the ones I do.
the only one here talking right now who doesn't hold them in as high of regard.
No, I do hold mine in high regard. It's just I also purposely go out to watch shows that I think I'm gonna enjoy.
By one, I mean a 10.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's why I have so many 10s in manga. I really want to make sure I enjoy manga before I buy it. I'm less picky fan of it because I'm not buying the anime. I'm just buying the streaming service. So whatever. If I don't like it, just drop the show. Dropping the manga is a little hard. That's why I don't really want to drop manga as much because I've already invested. That's why I'm still buying Gigan. Gigan's a terrible manga.
So shit.
It's not good.
Yeah, bro, I got 3 10s.
Regardless of whether or not
we want to go over what it is. I mean, we're not doing this for monetization anyways.
So Gigan is by the guy who wrote Gantz and Inuyashiki. Both haven't seen either of them, but just speaking of what I've heard, both actually, from what I've heard, very good series. Highly acclaimed, people love them. Gantz, not so much. Gantz,
Gigan.
Yeah, Gigan, sorry. Gigan is the story of a lonely guy who's a self-insert for Credit River. There is a girl.
He's also a high schooler, too.
Yeah, a story of a lonely virgin self-insert for basically anyone that watches anime. Because, man, I don't think if you've watched anime, you've touched a woman. I think the metric there is probably pretty high.
That's just not true, but...
I've hugged my mom, you know.
Do you think there's women out there that don't...
Gigan.
Do you not think that women exist that watch anime?
I'm saying that it's a pretty high number of people who watch anime and haven't.
I mean, we're going to anime NYC. I guess we'll see.
We'll see. Okay.
People who make anime their lifestyles are the people.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
a lot of people.
That's a better one.
Yeah.
People who make anime their lifestyle. It's that perfect self-info. It's the guy who thinks all women. Okay, we can leave this. We can skip this part because that's going to be a annoying thing to classify. Basically, self-insert virgin guy who is like addicted to porn. He like buys a lot of porn, specifically of this one like indie porn actress. Then he meets her one day. Yeah, Papico. He meets her one day after like some.
Well,
people
no,
like,
he tears down like posters of people that were like
people are, like
trolling her or some shit.
Yeah, they put a bunch of posters saying like, "Oh, Papico lives in this neighborhood. You can like go like find her and have sex with her and stuff." And, he finds posters and tears it down because he's like #nice guy. R/nice guy. I meant to say R/. Fuck.
Did you just say hashtag? That
Shut
was
up.
my question.
Yes, I said hashtag. I meant to say R/, which is worse. Yeah.
Yo, we're gonna get trending on Twitter. I respect it.
It's worse. It's absolutely worse. So she, long story short, she runs into some like weird time traveler guy. I don't know. I've only read 5 volumes so far. Runs into this weird time traveler guy who
he has like underwear and a helmet.
Yeah, he's wearing something weird.
Wait, Drip?
No. He's wearing like
put a
tight
picture
whites.
up.
No.
Yeah, I'll supply
He's
some.
so- he wears
I'll supply
underwear and a
pictures throughout
helmet.
this entire section. He gives her this weird device that like he sticks onto her wrist. She can't take it off. She can't take it off, and she can now turn into a giant. Her clothes don't stretch, so every time that she's a giant fighting
It's
these
just
monsters,
completely
which
nude.
are summoned by a website that I don't know what it's called, like End something.
Yeah, end of the world or something.
Yeah, something like that.
It's like people vote on shit to happen,
they
and,
vote on
and it
bad
starts
stuff
to happen.
to happen, and it
Yes.
just destroys
No,
the
we
thing.
shouldn't keep it.
And they, she turns into a giant and fights giant monsters while naked the whole time. And also, forgot to mention the most important part. So initially the kid, the high school kid, I'm gonna call him a kid because that's what he is, falls in love with the porn star and asks to go out with her after getting beaten up by her like deadbeat boyfriend, and then he just like leaves.
Abusive boyfriend who also
yeah,
had like
deadbeat-
emotional issues. Like he just
Yeah, no, he was
cried
insane. He
randomly
was
a
a
bunch
really
of times.
weird guy.
Yeah.
But he basically breaks down a diner after asking her out, and she says no because he's still a high school student. She's like, "We'll be friends
Because he's a
you're cool
minor.
guy, but you're also a minor, so no." Then by the end of that volume, there's a very explicit sex scene between the two of them, preceded by
Whoa,
a very
wait,
explicit sex
wait,
scene
how
in
old is he?
every single volume.
He's like
some
16.
places. Yeah,
How old
Maybe
is she?
17. 24?
20
She
something.
got some explaining to do.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they mentioned. How
Oh,
it's in
and
there.
the main character, by the way, is the guy. It's not Papiko, but his parents
Yeah.
find out, and they're like, freak the fuck out.
In the next
So
line, they're okay
weird.
with it, Andrew.
Yeah.
They're fine with it now. Because she saved
But
their
that's
life.
because
So,
she's like a hero now.
Yeah. So basically,
I guess
that's what's about.
spoilers for this shitty series.
No,
Spoilers
you
for
should
this
read.
very
I'm gonna
niche series I know nobody's reading.
For the whole reason that I brought this up, I'm gonna keep reading it because I already started buying it, and I don't.
You already
wanna try
started
manga.
jacking off to her. You're not gonna
I have
stop now,
jacked
are
off to
you?
it, believe it or
Yeah,
not.
I keep telling
Yeah,
yourself
I
that.
don't believe
Yeah.
it.
No, because
Yeah,
there's
we're
better
gonna
material out
Fucking
there.
own up. Have you
Yeah, I'm
checked
sure
out
there's
the
better
Naruto?
material, but you still have the material in
For the
front
show,
of
that was
you.
a
You're not
topic
gonna not
conversation
jerk
earlier.
it.
Drew,
I
your
have
secret's
not-
safe with me, have you?
To the
While we're
show, no.
recording.
No, to Nagatoro.
We're gonna edit the segment out.
Alright.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't remember every time I've jacked off.
Well, you don't need
You
to
don't
remember
remember-
just these specific times.
You don't keep a
Random ones.
journal
Jack
like the rest of us?
Okay, I'm gonna be
You don't
completely,
you don't have a cum tabloid?
be completely
Alright,
blatantly honest
Drew,
here.
be honest. Do you
The
have a
possibility of whether or not I have is
The
very
cum
high.
calendar.
I don't know if I have, but I probably have.
calendar?
I'm not gonna say that I definitely haven't, because that would probably be lying. I don't know if it's lying. This whole thing
Is
should
it
be
really
cut out.
lying if you don't
I don't want to
remember?
post this online. Yeah, I don't know. We're not talking about lying. Lying.
Drew.
We're not going to what's.
Don't worry about it. Can you name one viewer, listener?
Drew's
Well, considering we
parents.
haven't, I still haven't put out the first episode. No.
I changed my
Alright.
gameplay to play FIFA. I really hope it records because a guy named Girth just scored a goal.
If it doesn't record this gameplay, and by the way, you're so shit at this game,
We're winning! What do you mean?
we'll just like put
Dita.
what we're talking
Yeah, I'll just.
like while we do it. But
I don't know. I'll
alright,
just
so
maybe
anyways,
record an hour of me playing
Ben,
Destiny or
to
something.
tie it in with our first episode and what I was talking before about a 10. So last episode I mentioned started Code Geass, and I finished season 1. I'm like halfway done with season 2. Gave season 1 a 10.
Okay.
I mean, maybe after future reflection I'll end up dropping it. I don't know. As you watch a show, you kind of like live on the hype of just watching it.
Give Jujutsu Kaisen a 10 at the beginning.
I didn't. Oh, you said
I
you?
did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I dropped that.
But
Still good.
Code
but not
Geass
that
is like Death Note, but with Transformers, which is it's
high.
pretty
Transformers
lit. Like
the right thing to say there?
I mean
Death
Gundam,
Note.
but
Do I
I
have a
haven't
thing
seen
to say
Gundam.
about Death Note?
Oh god.
Yeah, it was
You
surprised.
better
I
not say
saw
that.
you
Bro, I've been
finish it and
saving
gave it
it
a
for
10. What
months.
do you like?
Today
What,
is my
I
day,
haven't
I'll
seen
let
that. I
you
wonder
finish
what you like so much about it. What, go
Oh,
into
Code
that
Geass?
without spoiling it. Yeah.
Okay, so So everyone here has seen or read Death Note, so you know how, like, it's all about, like, those mind games and shit. It's that, but in this, like, futuristic, dystopian society with, like, America's known as the Holy Britannian Empire, and they rule a third of the world.
Britannia that's known as the Holy Britannian Empire?
Well, it's actually the colonists in America. They took the American Revolution so far that they took back original Britain.
Oh!
This
is epic.
Yeah, and they're the bad guys of the series, so they're like really shitty people. They've conquered Japan, and the main character is in Japan during this, and he's fighting to dismantle the Holy Britannian Empire because he's actually a prince of the empire, and his mom, because, you know, the emperor has like 1 million
things. I've only watched the 4 episodes, so I don't know if he's.
This is like
it's all expository.
This is all like revealed pretty early in the series.
Thing was a big reveal of like the first or second episode.
Yeah, but that's the first or second episode. So like, if you're gonna watch this, if you're gonna watch this series, that's like what you're gonna learn. But so like, he hates his dad because he didn't protect his mom. So he's going to kill them, and he gets this power called the Geass, which lets him tell any person to do any command as long as he can get direct eye contact. And he uses this to try and like fight against, instead of fighting against like the great detective L in Death Note, like Light does, he has to fight against a literal fucking empire and military power. So it's like less about outsmarting a really smart person and more about like not dying while also maintaining like his school life. It's like if Light never graduated high school and college too, like, because in Death Note he got to fully just like focus on his life as Kira, but Lelouch in Code Geass is always trying to juggle things, and it creates a lot of unnecessary drama, but I think that's kind of like the charm of the series. And then they also have the mecha aspect, which is quite unnecessary, but like it's cool in its own right.
Wait, how much mecha is there really in that show?
Pretty much all the fight scenes revolve around it. So, like,
fight scenes are there?
There's actually a fair bit. The secondary main character, Suzaku, he's he's Japanese, but he's working under the Britannian Empire to try and change it from within because he believes that's the right thing. And he's like an ace pilot of these mechs that they call nightmares. And that's how Britannia was able to conquer so many people, so much land so fast, is they had this advanced tech. I think in Season 2 they reveal more about like the origins of the Empire, and so I'm not even there yet, but I gave Season 1 a 10 because like it just gave me very good Death Note vibes, but also like with a bit of a twist, which
what'd
I
you
really
give
enjoyed.
Death Note, by the way?
It's either a 9 or an 8 right now, and honestly, if the last third was more interesting, which is what I'm sure everyone says about the series, I would have probably given it a 10.
Not everyone.
Like, most people.
You're an average person. I love that show too much.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm, what's it called? Certified to judge anyone for giving out 10s to stuff that might not deserve it. I'm not going to comment here.
Comment on these nuts. Might not deserve it.
I wasn't gonna comment on it.
But like, so for instance, if the reason I gave Code Geass a 10, because honestly, it's an imperfect show. I recognize that. Like I said, there's unnecessary drama. The mecha is not really like integral part of the story, but they have it anyways. I think it's like
mecha. Especially around the time that it came out, mecha was pretty big.
I think in 2007.
Wasn't that around when like Evangelion came out?
2017. Evangelion came out in the 90s.
Sorry, 2007. I said 27.
Really?
But yeah.
Evangelion's an old show.
Yeah,
but I thought
Code
Geass was also old.
And it's old, but not that old.
It's 07, but it's not that old.
Well, actually, when is Evangelion? I may have just lied there.
I think it's like 97 or 98.
Evangelion, 95.
95, oh shit.
Yeah, so Evangelion's like a decade old.
But, yeah. But it's just like, especially since Code Geass is broken up into 2 seasons. Like right now, I'm halfway through Season 2. I heard the ending's really good. But there have been a few like pretty mid episodes so far. So I wouldn't,
in Season
right
2
now I definitely,
overall?
In Season 2. So I
heard
definitely
people
wouldn't
say
give
that
Season
about
2, yeah, I wouldn't give Season 2 a 10 right now. But like, since it's split up into 2 seasons, I can give Season 1 a 10 and not Season 2. And I think Season 1 was really, really solid. It's just like a constant hype train of unbelievable shit happening every episode. and I think it's a really good watch. I mean, probably by the time we record the next episode, I'll have finished the show, so I'll give my final conclusions there. What?
You could weigh in, what you just said.
Oh yeah. I'll finish this thought then, but right now, season 1 was really, really good. Season 2 is pretty good so far.
All right, is it finally my moment?
It's your own. Go ahead.
Oh my god. Allow me to discuss the greatest show ever written.
Which is?
I haven't read the manga, so I can't speak to that. But from what I've seen, what I've heard, it's almost exactly the same.
Maybe even better. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll see. I'll read it. I'll let you know.
I'm definitely gonna read it. Anyway, that show has 0 flaws.
What show are we talking about?
Death Note.
Oh.
You don't get to #1 popular without being good as fuck.
I don't think anyone's arguing that's bad.
Yeah.
Everyone here, I think we can safely say everyone here thinks it's a very good show, right?
Yeah, I mean, I read it, but the manga was very good, yes.
I'll tell you what, I was blown away when I watched the first 10 episodes. It was the greatest television I'd ever watched. I hadn't seen Breaking Bad yet. By the way, I don't only watch anime. Breaking Bad was a phenomenal show.
I thought we talk about what non-anime
memes
we've been watching lately.
What the not anime? Impossible. Everyone here has
lesser
to watch
man
that
would
show.
say
Breaking Bad was so good.
I want to. It's just, have you ever watched I've already asked you this before about Breaking Bad. Have you ever watched Prison Break?
No.
Oh, I love that show.
Well, the reason I stopped watching Prison Break is, for everyone that's watched Prison Break, the scene of the garden shears and the toes, not a fan of that. Really not a fan of that. It's not that I don't like violence.
Did you not?
I'm fine with violence. That queases me the fuck out.
Oh yeah,
did you not get past that, Drew?
I didn't get past that. Watching that, maybe it wasn't the garden shears. There was some scene of someone getting cut off.
There's a scene in the start of the 2nd season where they cut someone's arm off.
Okay.
From their forearm.
Fuck.
So you have to watch it happen. Man, fuck that show.
I don't think it's on. It's not on TV, like on screen when it happens. But then he gets his arm reattached, but it doesn't reattach right, and then it gets ripped off later.
That's so epic. So I already had to sit through one scene of something getting cut off. But it's okay, because the guy who got his arm cut off is a pedophile. And I quit. Oh, that guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
the actor seems like a really cool guy. Like I've seen him in interviews and stuff. But holy shit! Every time I see him in an interview, I just think it's the pedophile.
I think he was an Iron Fist.
I don't know.
Who gives a fuck? I heard Iron Fist suck.
I watched that show completely through 2 times, and I started rewatching it when I got Hulu last year, and I just wasn't able to get through all of season 2 because I was watching other things. And I mean, probably it's not as good as I remember it being, but I really like the shows where the main character's just like super smart, as you could probably tell by like what I was talking about with Code Geass and Death Note. And it's really cool the way Michael like works out his plan to get out of the prison.
You're talking about Iron Fist. Yeah, no.
I haven't seen Iron Fist.
I always get annoyed about that because I wanted to finish it because Michael was an amazing character. That show was really good. It's just I normally don't get like that queasy and that bad of violence. I don't know, the stuff that happens in Prison Break was just a little too much for me. But
also
back to Breaking Bad.
Duo.
Yeah, the actor's great. Breaking Bad.
That's actually the reason I started watching this show.
Finish Breaking Bad. I couldn't get into Breaking Bad because from what I've heard, there are scenes in Breaking Bad similar to the scenes that got me to stop watching Prison Break, and I don't want to start Breaking Bad knowing the high possibility of me not finishing it.
Drew, allow me to assure you.
Yeah.
Based on what you described about Prison Break, not even close.
Okay. Like,
I mean, there's some scenes that
are there any like torture
not
scenes?
Many.
Like
torture scenes. There's one, but he doesn't really. It's not like very torture-y.
Okay.
And it happens really early on, so like, you get through that, you can get through anything.
Okay. But I saw some like cool clips of it on TikTok actually. I saw some really cool clips of it. That looks really interesting. I'm like, wow, it still looks really cool. I want to watch it. I'm probably gonna watch it. I also know how it ends, but it's like not a massive spoiler because, spoiler, I think you were probably in the first episode. He has terminal cancer, so.
Oh yeah, that's
what do you think is gonna happen by the end of the show?
He's never gonna die.
Don't have any cereal near you when you're watching that show. Yeah. Is anyone watching any other anime recently?
No, bro. I need to finish. I could go on for 5 hours about why Death Note's good. I just brought up Breaking Bad to like, you know, just certify I know what good TV is. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure everybody that saw Breaking Bad would give it a minimum of 8.
Probably. I've heard only good things about that. I don't think I've heard a single bad thing about that show ever. From anyone,
Dude,
people
the memes that came from Breaking Bad is so fucking good. It's just like the most dumb shit. Just like
their
faces.
All it takes
is their
faces.
Yeah. Like, we'll put them up on screen now, but they're.
Can you send me some so I can note them up?
Yeah, I'll but they're just like the perfect reactions to just like, you know, when you shit your pants, and then it's fuck, whatever the main character is called, and he's like worried about shit. It's just
Walter White.
Yeah, Walter White. That's right. Oh, also the epic rap battle of history with Walter White and Rick Grimes is really good.
I'm not sure I gotta watch Walking Dead. No, wait. I heard kind of bad mid things about later parts.
The Walking Dead, the story behind it, like at least the first 3 seasons are so fucked. The guy that created it, like, well, the director, like, who adapted the comic book, Frank Darabont, he like did an amazing job with like the first season and adapting it, and that's why like it got so popular. He's like the reason. But then for season, I think it was season 2, I think, AMC, like, who produced it, they like slashed his budget. Told him to produce why? Because they're cheap.
It's a really popular show.
Yeah, but they're
that.
Because they're cheap assholes. They wanted to save money. They gave him requests like, "Hey, can we only hear the zombies instead of seeing them?" They didn't want
to cut corners. That is not the show to cut corners at it.
They They were scenes where like they were outside, but they were filmed inside in a green screen because filming outdoors costs more money.
Things about that, yeah, like green screen deer and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's fucked. And then they ended up firing him for complaining. I guess it's so fucked.
I thought Breaking Bad was also AMC, and it seems they gave him as much money as they wanted.
At least what it seems. I mean, what the show takes place in Mexico, right? You've seen the memes.
No, it takes place in New Mexico.
Same thing.
Alright,
you're ready to get cancelled.
Off topic, shut up. Death Note.
Alright.
There's a reason it's the best show ever made.
Let's hear this reason.
Actually, I would like to hear your reason for why you don't think it is, and I will tell you why
I think out of everyone here, I'm the one who likes it the least, so maybe
probably
this will be a one-on-one, mano y mano. So my reasoning, I think, is the most objective reason someone can have for disliking or liking a show, is how effective it was at keeping them watching the show. And yeah, it is a little subjective because that is different for each person, but I think I'm saying it's the most objective way an individual can score. It was a struggle to watch the last, like, I think 4 episodes, because I watched almost all the whole show, got really far in, got to, without spoilers, a pretty sad scene pretty far into the show, like the last third of the show. Few episodes
the
after
end of
that,
the second arc.
Yeah, that wasn't where I stopped. It was a little far after that. I want to say it was the last 3 or 4 episodes. Actually, I really liked the last 2 episodes. I really thought that was really good. But the episodes where I was, I stopped watching the show for like a month. Till I mentioned I never finished the show, and you guys were like, "Yo, finish the show." And I'm like, "Fine, I'll finish the show." And that was before Attack on Titan wore me out from binging shows. Just to clarify, love Attack on Titan, great show. It just wore me out. I watched the whole thing in like 2 days. Really wore me out. I haven't been able to binge since. But this is before I got worn out from binging shows, and I just couldn't. It was a struggle. I did finish the show. I just was so, by that point, from what I've seen, I really liked the first, I don't even know how far, I'm just going to say half, it was probably more than half. First half of the show at least, I really liked for Death Note. Something about the last part of it, I think it maybe just went on too long, or they stretched out what was happening at the end of it so much that I didn't care anymore. I was like, you should have, I'm watching this because there's more of it, and that's pretty much it. I feel like I would have been happy if the show ended significantly earlier. care anymore about any of these characters. There wasn't a single character by the end of the show that I was really rooting for to win anymore, except for like, I don't know, Matsuda. Matsuda was great. I didn't want Matsuda. I would have been probably. I'm not gonna spoil who dies, who doesn't die, but.
Nah, let's spoil it. We could just do a spoiler warning.
Spoiler.
Okay.
That
spoiler
show
warning.
came out
I'll
in
put
like
up a spoiler warning.
2007.
Yeah, it's a really old show. Highest popular amount.
You've had like 15 years to watch it.
Time. Everybody has seen it.
So Matsuda doesn't die in the end. If Matsuda dies, I probably would have been sad, like, oh, that sucks, Matsuda dies. But then I would have stopped caring and just probably watched Naruto or some shit. I just didn't care about the characters anymore. I felt like they really just dragged that last part a little too much.
Oh, by the way, what you mentioned there about, like, you didn't know who to root for, that reminded me of a...
Not who to root for. I didn't want to.
You didn't...
I didn't care.
Yeah, sorry.
About them.
It reminded me of one of my takes on Code Geass so far. So I'll provide you the meme, or maybe you'll just scroll up in our Discord to find it. But literally, the embodiment of that show is the "I'm evil" meme.
I'm pretty sure we've already mentioned this in the last episode, and I already made a note to put it up on screen in the last episode. So I guess I'll do it again in this episode.
Yeah,
and
it uses a word I'm not gonna say.
I'd say it.
Don't
Not yet,
but
please.
that's beside the point. And it's just like, I'm evil, I commit nefarious acts, you know? Because like just everyone in Code Geass, yeah,
like, I remember
in that show
like, first
is
episode,
so evil for like no reason.
In the first episode,
well, I mean,
they
no
like,
reason.
called the good guys terrorists. Is it true that they live up to the name of being terrorists?
Well, by the definition of the word terrorist, they are terrorists, just like the U.S. was technically, we were terrorists in Afghanistan.
Whoa, it's like a little too political here.
Actually, we declared war, so we're not terrorists. But, you know, like, pretty much anywhere that you don't declare war, but you're still, like, committing warfare acts, you're considered a terrorist. So, like, by definition of the word, they're terrorists. But they're kind of, like, not bad people.
I think we should officially consider the BTS army a real army, so we can officially declare war on them.
You were trying to do the get cancelled speed.
I thought of that the other day while waiting in line for lunch, and I thought it was funny, and no one was around for me to say it, so I just remembered it, and I just remembered it again.
BTS is great.
I'm gonna be completely honest here, I've only ever heard one of their, or knowingly, maybe I've heard something I didn't know was them. I've only heard one of their songs that I know of, and I did think it was actually really heat. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I'm sure their music isn't. I'm sure their music isn't bad. It's just that it's just children on Twitter that go crazy over them too much.
They're really good. I've never actually heard any other K-pop, I don't think. So I'm not gonna judge it without knowing anything else.
Well, have you
about
heard
it.
Gangnam Style?
That's K-pop?
Yeah.
It's Korean and it's pop music.
Oh,
it's like the best version of K-pop.
I don't. That doesn't. No, wait, no. As much as I love Gangnam Style, does not count as K-pop.
I mean,
why not?
Yes, why not? That's like saying Pokemon doesn't count as anime.
I think. Does Pokemon count as anime?
It is. It was just so localized here.
I can only handle one argument at a time.
No, that's not even an argument. That is a literal fact. It's a classification, a definition of what does and doesn't count. There's no argument about whether or not something counts. There's official classifications, and it does classify. Saying that that's an argument, it just... I want to argue with the people who argue about that on both sides.
Anyway, I gotta prove Drew wrong. I can't, because I can't argue that you should have been interested during that part. All I can say is,
that's why I'm so happy that
I wasn't
I'm able to
interested
make this argument well.
The first time. I was like, you know, I was disappointed that like the coolness of the show wore off after the first arc. But I've seen that show like 3 times now. I think it's fantastic. I thought the second arc was honestly genius. I know a lot of people don't agree.
There's another
but
thing
I thought
here.
the second arc was fantastic.
You know how sometimes...
I can tell you why. I'll let you speak first.
Okay, you know how sometimes you're watching a show and there's a bad guy who does bad things.
The nefarious guy that commits nefarious acts.
Yes, I was just gonna say it, but I couldn't remember what words it was. The nefarious guy commits nefarious acts, and even though he is nefarious, he's a bad guy, you still like him. So, for example, I think we're talking about him later, Kira. People like Kira. Logically, you shouldn't like Kira. Kira sucks. Yoshikage Kira from JoJo's. No one should like Kira. logically, but everyone does. Same with American Psycho. I think he was probably based off of what's his name for American Psycho. They act really similarly. But
well,
wait, like he's a
when
bad
did
guy.
American
What
Psycho come out?
Oh, like in the 80s or something.
Oh,
90s
yeah,
perhaps.
Way before JoJo's. But it
Purple
you shouldn't
was
like
written
them,
in
but
the
you
90s.
do. Kira, other than the fact that I was like, I like seeing him do smart things, I never liked him. I didn't think he was a likable villain. I think he was an entertaining to watch villain, but I never, ever, ever. There are some villains you root for, not because you want to see them, you want to see bad things happen to good characters. It's because you just like them so much, you root for them. I never rooted for Kira because I didn't like him. I thought his personality in and outside of being the bad guy was completely just irredeemable. He was such an annoying person.
I liked...
So whiny about so much of the stuff that he did. Like, I just really... that probably was the biggest reason why it dragged on, because if I liked the main character more, I probably would have been able to have been interested in the show more. It's just, Kira got old really, really fast. And the things he did were, for how smart that he was, a lot of his just logic.
Wait, now you're talking about Death Note Kira? Sorry.
Death Note Kira, sorry, yeah. Death Note
Yeah.
Kira. I'm just Light.
You
Light
just call him
Yagami.
Light.
I'll call him Light Yoshitani.
It's no
Kira.
secret that he's Kira.
So, yeah, Light Yagami. He was a smart guy. He did smart things. His logic, and this is probably the point, was...
I guarantee you it
so
is the point,
stupid.
but I want to hear
I
this.
hated his logic. I thought the arguments he made, specifically at the end of a lot of the acts he does at the end of the show, where the people he kills and stuff that he does to achieve his goals.
He's just kind of losing it at that point.
It is definitely the point. I actually really enjoy this plot point when it does happen in shows of someone trying to do good so much that they wind up doing evil things, maybe even more evil than the people they're trying to stop in the name of doing good. I like that. I thought at this point I couldn't see the connections of I'm doing good by killing these innocent people. I couldn't even see like why he was doing it. It seemed like by this point they were like, oh, we've established
you explained the
now.
point. That is the point.
Yeah.
He sank into it. He sank into the love of killing
But, like,
people and being an evil person.
You know, maybe the way I'm describing it, maybe I am due for a rewatch now that I'm kind of, since I'm
No,
saying it out
I'm
loud to
telling
other
you,
people,
dude, I'm gonna watch it again and again and again. I'm not gonna.
I think I'm gonna watch it again at some point because I found that when it comes to understanding stuff, me just trying to explain something to other people makes me understand it more. That's actually a big reason as to why I switch arguments so much. Whenever I argue with someone, I then think of better arguments and can even switch my opinion because I thought it through more. Whenever I'm like doing my work, I explain to other people what I'm doing so I can then understand what I'm trying to do. Now that I'm explaining it, it sounds a lot better through my explanation of why I didn't like it as to why I should have liked it. So
No,
I think
because
I am
that's
due for a
what I
rewatch
see all the
session.
time. There's so many reviews that like talk about it's like, bro, Light was painted as such a smart person, and then in the end he was acting like such an idiot. It's like you missed the point. Yes, he started acting like an idiot because he started off a very arrogant person. So as he kept killing people and getting away with it, he's it's just built on his arrogance. He's like, oh, so I'm fucking never gonna get caught. I could literally do anything I want. But he's a smart guy, so he doesn't let it get to him, but it does get to him in the end.
It has been a while since I've seen the show.
Oh, spoiler alert, he lost.
He does lose. It's been a while since I watched the show, and it at that point I kind of just hated Kira, so anything he did I was just it was entering in whatever voice he was saying it, but by the time it made it to my brain to register, it was in a whiny, look at me, I'm the bad guy, I'm so smart, look at this cool bad guy things I'm doing voice. I'm
evil. I do nefarious acts.
Exactly. Maybe because of that, I didn't see it, but I feel like if he acted just a little bit more, he was still so sure and a lot of times calm about what he was doing that it didn't even seem like he was losing it to anyone who wasn't like really paying attention to what his actions were. It looked like he still was completely confident, he didn't have any qualms, even when he probably should have gotten a bit more desperate what he was doing, and when he did start kind of losing his grasp on things, he really still just cool with it.
Yeah. No, but that's just because he was so arrogant.
Yeah.
He really thought he could handle all of it, but
that's the thing. I don't like.
He started it when he was in high school.
Arrogant people.
He never had a chance. And L told him he would lose right off the bat. He's a very juvenile way of thinking.
That's another thing.
Killing all the bad guys is the solution. And I was like, obviously that's not right because you're murdering so many people.
Yeah, continuing this is a spoiler warning here again for just to really.
No, I mean that happened in like episode 3 or something.
Well, no, not that. What I'm gonna say here. Elle dies, by the way. I've said a bunch of times.
The sad. I was so angry.
No, that wasn't the sad part for me. The sad part for me. Well, that was sad.
Nah, yeah,
but that's not the part.
I was so pissed off there
when his dad died. But yeah, when Elle died, actually Elle's death was really cool because I didn't know that Nier was a character, so I was so surprised when Elle died like halfway through the show. I thought that was really cool. But then, I never think that Elle's death made me like the show less. But I think now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it did. The reason I don't think that is because I didn't stop liking the show when Elle died. I stopped liking the show a little bit after Elle died. I mean, it's just because it took that long to sink in. Like, oh, no, I didn't even dislike Nier. Nowhere near as much as everyone else. I thought Nier was like fine.
For a guy that loves the show so much, I didn't like Nier.
Yeah, I thought
the first time. Honestly, it was because I didn't see it. It was just like acting like Elle, thinking he was hot shit. But
I mean, that was kind of his point too.
After I watched it a couple times,
trying to replicate Elle.
Nah.
Wasn't Elle.
Wait, hold on. Do you guys really like? Do you guys really like Light? Did you already say that?
I still hate Light.
I think he's an incredible
because I love Light and I also love Elle.
Objectively, yeah.
He's an
asshole, he's a piece of shit, but I like him.
Oh my god, I never wanted to see him win.
I personally am a big fan of arrogant characters when they can back it up, and clearly Light could back it up for like half of a decade, so I root for him.
Yeah.
I was rooting for Elle just because I liked Elle very much.
Rooted for? Yeah, I was rooting for Elle too. You know who I rooted for? And I am sad to see everything that happened, and literally none of what happened to this character was just Misa. Misa did not deserve a single one of these terrible things that happened to her. She did. She was crazy. Yeah, just because she was crazy.
Knowingly became Kira too.
Yeah, but then she wasn't even Kira 2.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. The first time I watched the show, that's when I liked it less. Is when Misa was introduced.
That's part of the reason. Yeah. One of the reasons why I kind of don't like Light that much is his clear misogyny, how much he manipulates her, and also fucking Takeda.
That is fun.
Yeah, Takeda.
But yeah, she really is.
She's a dumbass.
But that's like fine.
But what made you okay with Misa, like after your first time through then?
After is because I realized like she didn't exist, for her. She more existed, to put because at the rate Light was going, he was doing really well at that point. Misa came in. She played very heavily into why he lost, because now he didn't have to, I suppose, but it's just not because of the bit. It's because in his nature he had to control everything Misa was doing. Because if it didn't coincide with his exact plan, it was wrong. Even though it wasn't that wrong. Because, nobody knew there were 2 Kiras. Nobody would have guessed there were 2 Kiras. Until, Light tried to take control of Misa's plan and Elle found it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, Light's fault that they found out there were 2 Kiras. Light's fault that the second arc happened. Light's fault he lost. And I think that was a genius way to write the manga. I mean, I can't say write the show. Whoever wrote the manga was a fucking genius. The way he sculpted Light as a character, which is what I liked about Arc 2 too. Like that, I know turned a lot of people off. Is like, why would he do that? It was so weird. I thought it was weird that Elle went along with it.
Is Arc 2 when he's honestly out of?
Yeah, Arc 2 is when he stopped being Kira.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually really.
I thought it was weird the first time, but the second time I thought it was great.
Okay, regardless of what it did in the show, it created for one of the best moments ever in Anime House.
Oh,
which is, by the way, the best show ever made.
RDC World,
RDC World. RDC World is really good.
We could do a whole episode about RDC World, honestly.
And we probably will. No, that's a promise, we will. But
that's another thing I can't join. I don't watch RDC World at all.
Just watch a couple videos. You only need to watch
it. You want me to watch the Anime Olympics, and I did, and I thought it was fine.
Olympics.
Oh yeah, Hood Olympics.
They're so fun. But what I was trying to bait you with that Misa question, Nick, was I wanted you to say it's imperfect, but that's why I liked it, because I really want to talk about JoJo's.
Alright, well, I'm gonna finish up about...
You know, Andrew, later let's
arc
record you
too.
saying a
Probably-
better segue,
JoJo's
and then
is
we'll...
so much,
I'll
I'm
cut
sure
that
we
in right
could just
here,
save
okay?
that for, like, the next
Oh,
episode.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, let me finish my thought about Arc 2, which at first didn't strike me as much, but then it was like... I thought about the author's reasoning for including it, and I got to thinking, it's like the entire arc is just showing Light not as Kira. Like,
that's probably why I
not
liked it so
knowing
much.
that the Death Note ever existed, and I
It
thought
was
it was
showing
so
what
smart.
Light could have been if his life wasn't ruined
Exactly.
by
If he
what
never
thought
sank
was gonna-
into being an evil piece of shit, he could have been a fucking amazing detective. Could have possibly partnered with the world's greatest detective, L. They would have been
He would
great
have been a
friends.
really good person.
He would have been an excellent person. He would have had his dad's love. Nah, he already did, but he would have... His
This is-
dad was lucky,
okay. He would have
honestly. His
deserved
dad
his
died
dad's
not
love.
knowing that he was Kira, and I think...
Not
I
only
think
not
that was
knowing, but
best for
fully
his dad.
believing he wasn't Kira
Yeah.
because he had the Shinigami eyes.
yeah.
As bad as that was
and
that he was,
I
like,
was
lied
honestly
to,
glad he died not
he
knowing, because
deserved
he did
to
not
This-
deserve
not
to
know.
know.
This
If he knew the truth,
conclusion
that
for
would
you
ruin him.
is why I'm convinced you need to watch Code Geass soon. It's so many of these same moments, just like it's different enough that it doesn't feel like you're just watching a Death Note remake.
Oh, yeah, I'm
and
sure.
like it does these moments so well too. Like I highly advise you watch it.
And
Nothing else to say beyond
I've had it on my plan to watch for a really long time. I'm sure I will
Yeah.
watch it.
I'm done watching all the stuff I'm watching now. I'll watch that.
Alright.
So, yeah, just in conclusion, I think the show is genius. I think Arc 2 was a great show of, you know, Light's character. Because it developed it outside of the development that was already happening, which is just chef's kiss. It was so smart. And then Arc 3 was
probably
just,
was
you know,
honestly
back
my
to
favorite
it.
part of
He's
the show.
actually becoming evil. He's actually planning to become an overlord, which is really when you can tell he's lost his mind.
It was almost kind of like the I know in some shonen they do, it's like the filler episode that they do where nothing went wrong, and then immediately after filler episode, a lot of times they go into some like, oh yeah, look at that, see how nice that was? Now back to some fuck shit.
Yeah.
No, you thought he was happy. He's not happy. No, his life sucks. His life's over. No one's gonna be happy again in this universe. You're not gonna be happy anymore. Because look, now the
You're
main
not allowed
character
to be
is
happy
sad.
anymore.
You saw that he was happy. You see, this could have been a wholesome, fun slice of life. No. Everyone's dead or dying, or everyone that they know is dying. Sucks. And that's really good.
Alright.
Yeah.
So now on to
JoJo's.
Alright.
Wait,
so,
how long has this episode been going?
a little over an hour.
Can I?
Alright.
It doesn't tell me.
Dylan, let me suggest you cut it off and we talk about We could do just JoJo's for a whole episode.
All right. Yeah, we've been going for over an hour at this
more than a short
point.
time.
Okay.
Alright,
We
well
can-
then the next episode is going to be the Anime Olympics. Or at least that's the one I'm going to host. So, whenever I host the episode is when we do the Anime Olympics, which, I'm so excited.
Wait, what do you mean we do them? Like we're gonna perform them?
Yeah, I figured we'd turn the event into a podcast episode.
Oh hell yeah, that's genius.
Oh,
Yes.
Andrew, did you see that video I sent you about people starting podcasts on TikTok?
Yeah, I saw that.
That was funny.
But we're different.
We're different.
We're not 3 white guys. We're 4 white guys.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
incredible.
I'm only half white.
Hey, I'm only.
We're 3.5 white
100%
guys.
3.5 white. That would have been a pretty good title for the podcast.
Wait,
It's like 2.5 men, but for more modern times.
it's honestly.
I'd say we're still 2.5 men between the 4 of us.
Yeah, I would say so too.
Yeah.
The name we got's awesome, which is Dylan. What is it?
If I remember correctly, it's Twink Mountaineer Boys of the Syndicate.
Yeah, no, that thing is it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably it.
Are we just gonna change it every single time?
Yeah, no,
What
we
are
said this,
you
we're
What are
gonna
you
have to-
talking
yeah.
about?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's changed.